He who conquers others is strong. He who conquers himself is mighty. But he who knows when to retreat from a battle that drains his spirit is wise. Lao Tzu. Have you ever stopped to think about what a man really hands over when he sleeps with someone? It is not just the body, nor just the performance. What he offers, without realizing it, is the soul. A hungry soul, hungry for validation, for affection, for the sensation of being chosen. But this offer comes disguised as desire, as lust, as virility. It is not just skin rubbing against skin. There is a deeper current flowing underneath, because, in essence, a man's true desire is not sex. It is to be seen, to be felt, to be recognized as whole, even in his flaws and wounds. Men who kneel before a woman's body are not just seeking pleasure. They are seeking the affection they never received. Seems physical, but it is spiritual. It seems like lust, but it is an ancestral void disguised as power. When intimacy is real, it exposes the theater of performance and the fragility behind the armor. And it is in this brutal moment that Jung's psychology reveals itself. The body acts as an oracle, the shadow as a mirror, but seen only by the one brave enough to cross the mask and dive into the cutting truth. Carl Jung never saw desire as mere instinct. He saw intimacy as a channel between worlds, the conscious and the unconscious. He said, "Toda act of intimacy reveals more than it appears." For him, desire is not born in the body. It is born in the psyche, in the mind, soul. Every movement, every impulse has roots buried deeply in the unconscious. Sex is an exchange of energy, of shadows, of intention. And when the wrong woman enters your life, what should be pleasure becomes a physical, emotional, and spiritual drainage. In this video, you will understand why so many men feel empty after sex, why there is a tiredness that does not come from physical effort. It comes from the soul. Because every time you give yourself without presence, without real connection, you are trading pieces of yourself for crumbs of validation. The female body is a temple, but yours is too. And when two temples meet without consciousness, energetic chaos is born. You are not just having sex, you are opening portals. And not all portals lead to safe places. As this journey unfolds, you will begin to see what was always there, but no one ever taught you how to decipher it. When a man really surrenders in intimacy, he does not show only his body. He reveals hidden parts of the soul. The fear of rejection, the insecurity he masks with strength, the heavy silence of an invisible past. Visceral intimacy is not about sex. It is about feeling naked on the inside, because it is in that look, in that pause between touches that the invisible child appears. That part that just wanted to be loved without having to earn or deserve it. And this is more terrifying than any physical nudity. How many men in this moment of truth crumble inside while their face remains firm? The tough guy mask does not fall with screams. It dissolves in silence. A single touch can awaken the echo of abandonment. A small gesture can expose an emotional scar he never learned to explain. Jung said that the unconscious is always speaking, and in intimacy, it screams. The body becomes the stage where the soul encases its hidden pain. It is for this reason that many men pull away when they feel too close. Because facing intimacy means facing the emotional mirror, and not everyone is ready to see who they really are. The collapse of masculine strength does not begin with a crisis. It begins with a single touch that escapes through the cracks in the armor. And when that happens, something inside begins to awaken. But this awakening is just the beginning. Most men grew up believing that giving pleasure was a matter of technique, as if it were a performance. Do it well, impress her, prove you are enough. But the real desire, the one that connects, the one that touches the soul, goes much deeper. Giving pleasure can be a spiritual act, a way to access that forgotten part of yourself, the part you buried long ago. Because, in essence, every man carries a soft and delicate side, the one the world taught him to hide. Jung called this the feminine within the man, Anima. And the paradox is this: when a man truly surrenders in intimacy, he does not touch only her body. He touches this hidden part of himself. Sacred pleasure is not about control. It is about an overwhelming presence. It is when the body becomes an oracle, an emotional mirror where he sees himself without mask. And in this ritual of touch, something awakens, something no performance can fake. It is here that desire ceases to be just flesh and becomes soul. Ritualistic sexuality does not start in the body. It starts in listening without words, in allowing this exiled sensitivity to emerge again. It is not about proving anything to anyone. It is about reconnecting with who you really are beneath the fractured armor. And when that happens, pleasure becomes healing. But for many men, this still feels too dangerous.
Many say they want love, but deep down what they crave is approval. Desire does not come only from the will to connect with the other, but from an ancestral lack, the desperate need to finally be chosen. As if in every relationship, the invisible child interior was waiting for someone to say, "I see you. You matter." And that is where the trap begins.
Because when the thirst to be loved is greater than the capacity to love oneself, the man begins to lose his character, to mold himself. He annuls himself. He bends. He sacrifices his soul for crumbs of acceptance. Have you seen this man? The one who does everything, who is always available, always kind, and yet is ignored. It is not that he is wrong. It is that he is trapped in an emotional cycle. Excessive kindness is often just pain using the mask of virtue. He is not loving. He is begging for affection through the language of performance. And it is here that the dark projection begins. He expects the other person to save him, to rescue him from his lack of self-love. But that never works. It takes courage to look inside and ask, what am I trying to prove? Because sometimes this effort to be the perfect partner is just a denied reflection of a self-esteem in ruins. And when the man understands this truth, he begins to dismantle the theater of performance. He begins to access his raw presence, the part of him that does not need to be perfect to be loved. But to reach this place, he must face his own shadow. And it is in this moment that the game changes completely. Carl Jung once wrote one of the most brutally honest truths of all psychology. The things you do not make conscious will appear in your life as fate. And it is exactly that which happens with so many men. They believe they are making choices, but in reality, they are just repeating unresolved pains. The shadow is the hidden, wounded, and rejected side of the being. It assumes the wheel of a man's life without him even noticing. And so every relationship becomes a repetition of old traumas, a cycle that never closes. That is why intimacy can seem like a minefield, not because the other person is toxic, but because the internal wounds are still open. He approaches with the mask of strength, but inside is collapsing. He seeks in the other a solution to the existential void that never healed. In this internal battle, the body becomes either a fortress or a bridge. Everything depends on how he faces emotional nakedness, as a threat or as an opportunity of healing. The shadow is not what you hate. It is what you hide from yourself. That fear of being weak, that panic of being rejected, that invisible thirst for approval, all that lives there in the unconscious, waiting for the moment to emerge. And where does this emerge? In the touch that triggers the memory, in the emotional mirror of intimacy, in the repeated choices that seem like coincidence, but are not. Every man in some moment will project on the other what he has not yet discovered inside of himself. He looks at a woman and, without noticing, transforms her into everything: lover, mother, confident, savior. But the problem is not in loving.
It is in waiting for another person to fill what is empty inside. This is not love. It is the projection of the shadow of an ancestral lack, a phantom desire for an affection that he never lived. And this projection almost always ends in frustration. Because when you put someone on a pest, you are not seeing the person. You are seeing the reflection of your own wounded soul. This idealization becomes an emotional prison, because in the first error, the whole castle crumbles. The man who before projected greatness now feels contempt.
The desire turns into resentment, all because he tried to find outside what should have awakened inside. His animal asleep, his sensitivity denied, his profound interior presence. It is in this desperate search to feel complete that many men lose themselves. They confuse intensity with love, neediness with connection, presence with salvation. But no woman, no matter how incredible she is, can be the perfect mirror for a man who has not yet known himself. The emotional mirror starts inside, and looking at that naked reflection demands a courage that the majority of men do not have. And, however, this same courage is the key to the next step. The majority of men pass their life waiting to be validated, a compliment, a choice, a soft touch that says, "You are enough." But the truth, as sharp as it is this: this validation never lasts because it comes from outside, and what comes from outside will always go away. The true healing starts in the moment in which a man perceives that he does not need to implore for affection anymore, because this thirst of being chosen can only be satiated when he chooses himself first. The self-knowledge is the key, not as theory of book, but as a living practice. Look to inside with raw presence. Hear without words. Face the existential void without fleeing. It is in that place where the soul lies in ruins that the true masculine awakening starts. The intimacy stops being a performance and becomes a mirror of the truth. The desire, when born from inside, does not implore, it invites. It dances lightly. It is an expression of the soul. This is the moment in which the sexuality transforms into ritual, not anymore an escape, but a return, where the sacred pleasure does not come from the void, but from the plenitude, where the shadow becomes oracle and the silence becomes wisdom. But to arrive at this place, a man must pass through the prison of the ego and pull out, one by one, the masks of strength. And in this pilgrimage, he finds something that the world tried to bury: his humanity exposed. Not every woman deserves access to your body, much less to your energy. The sex, when unconscious, becomes an open channel by which your vital force can be drained without you noticing. There exist women emotionally wounded, addicted to drama, disconnected from themselves, who carry inside of themselves a void. And when you merge with this void, it devours the most sacred parts of you, your clarity, your strength, your direction. You leave the meeting more empty than when you entered, and even so believe that it was pleasure. What she lived with other men, her emotional addictions, the unconscious pacts that she maintains, all this is engraved in her body, and the sex is the door by which these energies enter in your life without asking permission. You are not just having sex with her body. You are engaging her energy, her traumas, her demons not resolved. And if you are not awake, this fusion becomes contamination. You start to feel fatigue, apathy, confusion, and do not even know why. This type of intimacy is an invisible exchange, but it is devastating. It does not mean anything to have physical strength, false confidence, or spiritual phrases in your profile if, in practice, you continue opening yourself to women who live in chaos. It is necessary energetic discernment, presence, and a new pattern of choice. Because while you continue delivering yourself to any person just to silence your void, your soul will remain in ruins. And one day, she can never more return from where she was taken. Now answer honestly. How many times did you deliver yourself to someone thinking that it was just desire, but left the bed more lost than before? How many times did you confuse pleasure with connection and gave your energy to someone who did not know even to care of her own? The answer can hurt, but also can liberate you. Because starting from this moment, you cannot more say that you did not know. Now you understand that sex is not a game. It is a ritual. That the body is an oracle. And each intimate choice that you make either rebuilds you or buries you deeper in your own abyss. Now, the choice is yours. Will you continue offering yourself totally to someone who only wants a piece of you? Or will you finally start to demand a level of conscience worthy of your soul? If this video moved with something inside of you, comment below the part that spoke to your soul. And if this arrived until you, share with the men who still are asleep. Subscribe, because what we are revealing here is not just about sex. It is about who you are when nobody is looking, without performance.